上秀就没有嘛，对不对？
The President of International Society of Internal Medicine. He is a medical faculty in the University of Jakarta. Multidisciplinary team in cancer management, role of the internist. So Professor Sudoyo, please. Let's welcome Professor Sudoyo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would like to thank the Taiwan's Society of Internal Medicine for inviting me here. And this is not my first time in Taiwan, and for certainly will not be the last. I've been here several times, so I think Professor Nitin will have to catch up and visit Taiwan more. Now, first of all, I would like to introduce myself. Who am I? I come from Indonesia. My ancestors came from Formosa, which is Taiwan now, 5,000 years ago. Now, this is not an Indonesian, but this is an Indonesian. Okay, so you see the similarity between this, the Aboriginal tribal person from Formosa, and this, an Indonesian from Borneo. So we are still family. Now, the extent of the cancer problem. First, globally, and secondly, I'd like to talk a little about Indonesia because as an Asian country and as a developing country, we have different problems, but we have the same need to control cancer. This is the global mortality rate in which cancer is now, the death caused by cancer is now more than tuberculosis, HIV, and malaria combined. These are the most common cancers worldwide. Now, the problem is with my country, and Taiwan is a developed country, my country is a developing country, in that there is a very widening gap between the industrialized country and developed countries and the cancer burden. We get more cancer now year by year, whereas in the developed countries, cancer is now starting to maybe a little bit decline. Because why? Because of the good screening programs and early detection programs. In Indonesia, the screening program for 254 million people is still too expensive. So the mortality of cancer, the burden of the mortality itself, is also increasing in the developing countries. Now, in Indonesia specifically, there is an epidemiology shift in which in the 1990s, when I was a young internist, I'm not yet old now, but younger than today, we have more infection. Now, you look at 2010, non-communicable disease, which consists of diabetes and cancer, is now larger than infection. And this is what the problem is. So now you know what is the most common cancer in Indonesia. For women, breast and cervical cancer. For men, lung, colorectal, and prostate. Colorectal is also a special problem in Indonesia. When I was younger than today, colorectal cancer is outside the Big Ten. Now it is number 2 for males. Why? The shift in diet to the more Western diet And we are now eating too much, we are exercising less, we still smoke too much, and we have not been able to win the fight against the tobacco industry in Indonesia. And as a general rule, the lifestyle has changed to the more Western lifestyle. Maybe later it will be number one, but I'm not confident because the tobacco industry is still very strong in Indonesia, so lung cancer will still be number one. So why do we need a multidisciplinary team if we look at the title of this speech? Second is that the key word is we have to do a combined effort. Why? Because cancer is now more complex. 20, 25, 30 years ago, there were not very much treatment that can be done. People come at a very late stage. The survival is short. But now, there are several things that we have to consider. First, the patient-related and comorbidities. Now, this is where the title of this lecture comes in, the role of the internist. And also that we know that the characters of the tumor itself, and also if we now look at the current trend, that now we are going more into personalized medicine, so we have to know about the predictive factors, prognostic factors, and what are the markers that can determine which patient gets what treatment, which stage get what drug, and so forth. And so that we cannot fight cancer alone anymore right now. We have to fight together. Now, these are the names of multidisciplinary teams in other countries, other centers. Some call them tumor boards, multiple case reviews, and so forth. But why do we need the teamwork? First of all, because cancer often does not stand alone. And there are again comorbidities and other problems. Now, especially in Indonesia and in many developing countries and in third world countries, the number of the old patients are getting larger, which means that patients who used to die because of tuberculosis, now they die because of cancer, diabetes, and degenerative diseases. There are more elderly patients now than 20 years ago. They survive longer, which is a blessing, but also causing much problem for us to determine. Secondly, now, if in the last few years to have a teamwork for in a hospital is more for education and training. If we look at this, because we share our knowledge, there is the evidence-based recommendations that we talk about, and then the collaborative decision making, so education and training. It is now different. Now we're talking about patient care and safety. So a different state of mind, a different philosophy, a different way to look at the problem. Now we have to be careful because we have to think not about our own knowledge but also about the safety of the patient. What is the objective of the multidisciplinary cancer? This is a term relatively new, continuum of care, in which there is the care of a cancer patient is not boxed by chapters or by sequence, but with a smooth transition from one approach to another. There is no stopping. That's why it is called a continuum of care, in which the care of a patient is determined by the situation at that particular time. We can change the treatment in the middle of our process, so we do not wait for the one process to finish. This is what this change has made us also change our way of doing our treatment programs. And also, because the good outcome of the multidisciplinary team is done through better understanding of the patient characteristic, and also we have to look at the guideline, and this is very important, especially in facilities which are not optimal, is that we have to optimize the facilities, whatever that available in the hospitals. Now, when you are in a country in which there are very many islands, and in which the hospitals and facilities are not the same, then you have to think what is the best for the patient. For particular, you cannot send the patient from the island of Borneo, where you have that Dayak tribesman in the picture, to go to Java just for treatment. You have to make good or make do with whatever facilities that you have there. So you have to have several people discussing the patient, and that is the objective of the multidisciplinary team. Okay, I think this it's stuck here. Can you help there? Okay. So again, we look at this picture. What is this for? Internal medicine. Because, why? Because if we have to discuss the patients for the very same reason, this is in a hospital in Jakarta, there's this proof. There is this a publication from Holland that was several months ago. It's still a benefit, and the findings were very important. First of all, from the referral to that particular hospital, where might be incorrect or no diagnosis, but then when the cases were discussed in the team, when we find that some will be inaccurate and even no diagnosis. And this is in developed countries, a very advanced country, which is the Netherlands or Holland. And then after further discussion, even some are benign. Look at the number of the incorrect diagnosis after being discussed in the multidisciplinary team. This was presented at the World Congress of Gastrointestinal Cancer in June in Barcelona, and it was quite a lecture, because it really stresses the importance of discussing about the patient in one group. But there are barriers, and I think we as doctors in the hospital know these are the barriers. We cannot just say, come on, let's go together and talk about cancer. Different schedule. Ego. We are taught to think for ourselves and by ourselves, and we often, especially us, the more senior, cannot take advice from the younger. Very human. It's everywhere, doctors everywhere. But this is a barrier. And some are already accustomed to succeeding by doing alone. I don't need a team. Oh yes, this slide is not from Indonesia. This is from the UK. We're talking now also about a European country. Of course, Indonesia is like this also. I'm just showing you that this is a universal problem. And also the number of cases discussed, usually we will come to only advanced cancers. Because it is proven that if a patient in an early stage of cancer is discussed in a team, the survival will be about the same as if the cancer is not discussed in a team. So the benefit of the team is more if the patient is already in an advanced stage with problem with comorbidities and so forth. So that is why we do not have to discuss about all the new patients, or else we cannot work. We will be meeting the whole day just for new patients. So we will have to filter and to determine which, unless one of the staff asks for the case to be discussed. So that is what is being done. So what is the role of the internist? First of all, who is the internist? What is an internist? An internist is this is from the American College of Physicians. An internist is the specialist who applies scientific knowledge to the diagnosis, treatment, and compassionate care from health to complex illness. So a very large spectrum. Secondly, we are equipped to handle the broad and comprehensive spectrum of illness, and where several different illnesses strike at the same time. So this is where we come in as an internist, because the characteristic of the patient is also like this. Where the majority of the elderly, some are in the palliative stage, many psychosomatic problems, longer survival. The patients will come to us with a longer survival, so there's no problem. 35 years ago, we'll say, well, he will die anyway. No, it's not like that. The patient will survive much, much longer, so it is our duty to take care of those patients in a team, because of the effects of the therapy itself, not just the disease itself. So, if you look at this slide, in which from the pre-initiation to the change in malignancy to the evolution of cancer, in which the patient dies here, well shorter than the natural calculated age, with our ability to prevent, detect, and control cancer, we will have the patient survive longer, and hopefully, usually, he will live as long as the age in which the patient will live without cancer. But there comes a problem. Now we have to be able to take care of the patient in a more palliative care setting. The treatment is finished. Now it's more palliative setting. That is where the internal medicine specialist or the internist is very much important. Because if you look at the old concept, you treat here, and then when there is no treatment anymore, then you go to hospice. Now, palliative care starts from the beginning, starting from the diagnosis. But the proportion is smaller than here. And if you look at the team again, we have to be in the team. And again, because if you look at the situation in which the patient will need palliative care, medical palliative care will be there. So if before the time that the patients were discussed, you will only have symptoms until here, routine, urgent, and then go to the team. But now, with the multidisciplinary team, we go through a team process in which there's an expert review, open discussion, leadership. What does this mean? Somebody has to lead the team, because if not, we doctors, if we have 10 doctors in the meeting, then we usually will be 10 leaders in the meeting. So we have to determine first, the hospital will have to determine first who will lead the cancer team, so that there will be a smooth process towards the decision making. Then the team output will come to the decision, the implementation of the treatment, and so forth. And with the team, it is easier to do research. Then it is different now, because now the treatment can go as a continuum. This will not end here, but we don't know depending on the patient. We'll discuss this, discuss and treat, discuss and treat, discuss and treat. Now, if you look at the continuum of care with the cancer journey, this is the internist. The internist actually will be from here up to here, from the whole process. The only thing is that in some cases, of course, the internist is not always inside, like during the treatment of the cancer itself. But if you look at this picture, and that there are several stages, then you will see that the role of the internist is in several places in the scheme. If not, but it's not that easy. Why? This is from the UK experience. 2004, 2018, not 100% succeed or even comply with having to have a team. Not everybody, not all hospitals agree to have that. So the socialization of the concept was such that then in the last several years there is some improvement. This is the upper GI, for example. Only 67% complied with a team. Now it's 82%. So you need hard work. We need to adapt, and we need to modify and to learn how to listen to one another more. I mean, we doctors are always like that. We have to be forced sometimes to listen to our police. So again, the reward is survival. This is the reward actually for the patient itself. With a team, the survival is significantly better than without a team. And again, let's say that if this is a stage 4, the 5-year survival is less than 10%. With a team, we can increase to 30%. So the take-home message is that the team now is an essential part of cancer care. Effort should be made to establish teams in hospitals. The challenge is to maintain the team. We are all very busy in our different specialties, in our different fields. Somebody has to take care of that. Somebody has to be the chairman, has to be with a secretary to call. There is a meeting, and so forth. And we have to overcome the individualistic side of the medical staff. And this usually has to be done top down from the hospital board. So again, this is my message. My last message as a president of ISIM, we have just had a successful World Cancer Congress in Bali. This is the Indonesian president. This is the Jakarta president. This, I think I know this guy. I think, this is from the ISIM. From Bali, the flag has been given to South Africa, and we await your attendance to the World Congress of Internal Medicine in Cape Town, South Africa. You still have 2 more years to prepare your luggage, to prepare your itinerary, and to prepare to enjoy yourself also. Thank you very much, and again, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sudoyo, for his excellent speech. Is there any question to Professor Sudoyo? Please. Everyone.
Very comprehensive, Professor Sudoyo. My question is, the internist, which is public insurance reimbursed, the service is reimbursed, because in this country our activity or our everything is atrophy in the internal medicine in comparison to the family medicine. The family medicine is encouraged by the government, by the system, by the insurance bureaus. So I wonder if this insurance reimbursed, paid for the cost of the internal medicine. And second, in your country, is there something like the family medicine, and which is encouraged by your country too? That means in your hospital, is there a very, very active part of internal medicine? That means general medicine, general internist in your country. Is this very common?
Usually we have the same problem everywhere, that doctors are very hard to be made to work together. In the National Cancer Hospital where that picture was, it has already been going on for the last 15 years. But in the General Hospital from university, it has been, the team is there, but still often difficult to gather the patients. First of all, because of our duties. Like I said, it should be implemented top-down. First, for two reasons. First, because of the policy of the government is important to ensure that the doctor is reimbursed. Second, to ensure that the team is valid, that the team is there because it is ordered to be there. There is now in the process of a ministerial decree from the Ministry of Health in Indonesia. Hopefully in next year it will be a decree for the whole country. I'm not really very optimistic that this can be implemented all at once. Again, it's like having to force several people to work together. It is something that you have to work on for years, and the reimbursement will depend on the medical committees. In Indonesia, medical committees recommendation to the hospital officer for the national reimbursement. We have just had our national universal coverage only since 2014. So there are still what we call growing pains. There are still many things to be corrected, but it is now going on. In 2014, all at once, because of a political promise, the national health system was implemented since January the 1st. So everybody was scrambling to change the rules and now there has been several meetings in the Ministry of Health every several months to try to correct whatever that, especially if we're talking about reimbursement. For example, at first, surgeons get very much more than internists or the non-surgical. Now it is being corrected. Hopefully, at least you get a more decent income, the internists. So things are like that. It has only been 2 years since we started this universal coverage. In other countries, like in Thailand, the universal coverage took about 5 years to implement. We had to do it in 1 day, starting from January the 1st. But it's still alive. Before the national universal coverage in Indonesia, sometimes people, after diagnosed by cancer, they say, "Doctor, we are going home. Because if I continue the treatment, I will have to sell my house, and my children will not have a house anymore." Now it has changed. Now cancer chemotherapy is covered by the universal coverage. Of course, we still have a problem with the newer targeted therapies, and that is very expensive they're being cut now. But still, the majority of the chemotherapy cytostatics are not covered. We're talking about CHOP, R, and lymphoma and so forth. Thank you.
In this slide showing the situation of the UK, there are lung cancer, breast cancer, GI system, but there's no leukemia or lymphoma. So, what is the problem? There is no
I think
indication for the leukemia or
I think that they started with solid tumors. In the UK, of course, like here everywhere, leukemia and lymphoma is hematology. This article was from the Journal of Clinical Oncology, so it's more of a solid tumor data. I certainly hope so, because I'm also a hematologist, that they are doing well with the leukemia, but I did not find the data also. I don't know, maybe because in hematology it is very much specialized when you treat leukemia. The team is by itself, they have to meet because of the difficulty in treatment. Hematology, microbiology, so forth. But maybe not very much used. Radiotherapy or radiodiagnostic will not be very used. So I think it's because of that. But I cannot explain to you the real reason. It's just my speculation that the data is for solid tumor. Thank you.
I noticed that in one of your slides that shows the rank of the various cancers in the country, Hodgkin lymphoma ranked as approximately the sixth position. And it seems to me that it's very high in the country for Hodgkin lymphoma. Do you have any epidemiological study finding the risk factors, especially the environmental risk factors, related to Hodgkin lymphoma in the country?
Yeah, first of all, I treat non-Hodgkin also. Almost all of them smoke. Okay, and then there might be some viral infections involved. Of course, it might be different than Burkitt's lymphoma. We're talking more what we have more is non-Hodgkin lymphoma of the large cell B type. We have many of those, very many, including nasopharyngeal carcinoma. We also have lots of them, especially due to the EBV virus and smoking, of course, but not really the real evidence on why or what causes the non-Hodgkin lymphoma to be high. There is no investigational data about that. Perhaps some viral infection also. Thank you.
Okay. On behalf of the society, I would like to send a prayer to the Professor Sudoyo for his contribution to our society. Thank you for your attendance.